Today's topic is occupational health and agricultural activities. Occupational health is the promotion and maintenance of the highest degree of physical, mental and social well-being of workers in all occupations by preventing departures from health, controlling risks and the adoption of work to people and people to their jobs. Occupational health is a multidisciplinary activity aimed at the protection and promotion of the health of workers by preventing and controlling occupational diseases and accidents and by eliminating occupational factors and conditions hazardous to health and safety at work. The development and promotion of health and safety work environment and work organizations. In the context of occupational safety and health, the term agriculture is generally used in a broad sense, including all activities directly related to cultivating, growing, harvesting and primary processing of agricultural products, animal and livestock breeding, including agriculture and agroforestry. The term also refers to all agricultural undertakings irrespective of size. A somewhat open question is whether subsistence farming should be included in agriculture. ILO does not include subsistence farming in agriculture, but ISSA, that is International Social Security Associations, more or less includes it. The borderline between agriculture and forestry is not always clear and well defined. Coming to occupational health and agriculture. Agriculture and health are linked in many ways. First, agriculture is essential for good health. It produces the world's food, fiber and materials for shelter. In many countries, it is also an important source of livelihood among the poor. At the same time, agriculture can be linked with poor health, including malnutrition, malaria, foodborne illness, human immunodeficiency virus or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, livestock related diseases, chronic diseases and occupational ill health. Health also affects agriculture. People's health status influences the demand for agricultural outputs, and in agricultural communities, poor health reduces work performance, reducing income and productivity and perpetuating a downward spiral into ill health. Agriculture is a human activity which includes a number of different tasks and occupies a huge number of people worldwide. Estimates of World Bank for 2003 suggest that 51% of global population lives in rural areas. ILO estimates that 1.3 billion of workers are engaged in agriculture and they represent almost a half of the total number of economically active subjects. The variable working conditions in agriculture can be compressed into some specific features which increase the risk of occupational accidents. They are: the work is carried out in the open air, exposing the workers to climatic conditions. The work is of a seasonal nature and certain tasks are urgent in specific periods. A variety of tasks must be performed by the same person. There is great variation in working postures and the length of the task performed. Contact with animals and plants bring exposure to bites, infections, allergies and other health problems. There is contact with chemical and biological products. A variety of machines are used. The work is often performed in isolation out of sight of others. Emergency services are often delayed in time of accidents due to the remoteness of a huge percentage of the work sites. The worker's home is often embedded in the farm for a high percentage of farm population, increasing the risk of farm related accidents to children. There are high proportions of young and old workers. It is well established that population health is strongly influenced by society and environment. Social and environmental determinants of health include income, employment, access to food and social capital, and exposure to agents in air, water and soil. Although these determinants have been much studied, one important aspect of society and environment has as yet been inadequately addressed, that is agriculture. Examining health in an agricultural context is therefore important because agriculture presents not only opportunities for improving health but also risks to health. It is equally important because health affects agriculture. In agricultural communities, poor health reduces income and productivity, further decreasing people's ability to address poor health and inhibiting economic development more broadly, while in the population at large, malnutrition and disease patterns market demand for agricultural products. In developed countries, agriculture workers are only a small fraction of the whole workforce, while in developing countries, especially in Asia, agriculture workers represent up to the 60% of the total workforce. Most agriculture workers reside in Asia, in the Pacific and in Africa. ILO estimates suggest that half of the fatal occupational injuries in the world are attributable in agriculture. This means that around 1,70,000 agriculture workers die every year as a consequence of occupational injuries. Using the same estimates, half of the fatal accidents could be linked to agriculture activities, that is more than 130 million. Comparing this estimate with the 6,32,817 people injured in the war in 2002 or with the 20 to 50 million injured victims of road accident, one has a much clearer picture about the importance of preventing agricultural injuries. In a complicated situation such as occupational health and safety problems in agriculture, it is not so easy to select priorities clearly. But legalization of agriculture workers could be a key solving all the other problems. Actual data on fatal and non-fatal occupational injuries in agriculture show that occupational health and safety issues are among the top priorities for that discipline. Coming to agricultural output that causing health hazards. Agricultural outputs affect health in a variety of ways. The major output food can carry foodborne illness and affects nutrition. Foodborne illness are caused by unsafe food that may originally have been contaminated during agricultural production. For example, pathogens on raw fruits and vegetables may be the result of irrigation with the inadequately treated wastewater, and aflatoxins may be present in staple crops. Nutrition is influenced by the quantity of food available, its quality and diversity, its price and how it is distributed, which in turn are influenced by agriculture and the policies that govern it. Agricultural and plantation works are associated with a variety of unique occupational health hazards in the form of physical factors like extreme weather conditions, sun rays, etc. Chemical toxicological hazards in the form of pesticides or fertilizers, etc., including different forms of biological and mechanical hazards. As most of our rural people are engaged in varied types of agricultural activities, they are highly susceptible for suffering from numerous work-related health disorders. Pesticide exposure. Today, farm workers are exposed to non-persistent pesticides which are metabolized by the body within days. They may enter the body through ingestion and inhalation, but they are primarily absorbed through the skin. During their daily work, farm workers often exposed to pesticides which include substances that prevent, destroy or repel pests. Because some pests have systems similar to the human system, some pesticides also can harm or kill humans. The term pesticide also encompasses herbicides, fungicides and various other substances used to control pests. Farm workers frequently encounter pesticides through direct contact with the chemicals, contact with pesticide residue on treated crop or equipment and drift of pesticides into untreated areas. Hazardous tools and machines. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics 2011 data, the following was reported of fatalities within the industry of crop production. 132 fatal incidents involving transportation, which includes injuries resulting from being struck by a vehicle, and 45 fatal incidents from contact with objects and equipments. As for non-fatal injuries in agriculture, machinery was the leading source with 99,402 reported injuries. In 2011, there were 41,777 injuries from hand tools and 24,590 injuries from tractors. Skin disorders. Farm workers are exposed to many occupational and environmental risk factors that results in skin diseases, whether mechanical devices, chemicals, plants, organic and inorganic dust and fungi. Coming to risk management. Risk management principles are not widely used in agriculture. Scientific contributions on the application of formal safety management theories or practice in family farming are not commonly available. Abstract and theoretical methods tend to reduce acceptance among farmers, and a practical approach is needed when risk management systems are implemented. The method used should be practical and economically feasible to achieve a high degree of acceptance among farmers. There are 4 primary components of a risk management program. According to US Department of Labor, they are management commitment, work analysis or risk assessment, hazard prevention and control, and last, training of employees, supervisors or managers. Coming to management commitment. The first step in addressing injury risk is a commitment by the farm operator or manager. This is equally true for the small farm with just one operator as for the large farm with hundreds of employees. It is important to make reducing injury risk a top priority in order to preserve life and to enhance profitability. Risk assessment of the work environment. The key to improving safety and health in agriculture is to manage risk by assessing them systematically and to implement preventive actions based on the assessment. It is sometimes difficult to explain to farmers that a risk assessment is nothing more than a careful examination of what could cause harm to workers and to make decisions on whether the precautions taken are adequate or whether more should be done to prevent harm. The aim is to make sure that no one gets hurt or becomes ill. A risk assessment involves identifying the hazards present in any undertaking and then evaluating the extent of the risks involved, taking into account existing precautions. Key points in a risk assessment are identifying the different risks that could cause harm in the workplace, considering who may be harmed and how, including temporary and permanent staff as well as workers in specific risk groups such as children, adolescents and elderly persons, evaluating measures that are already in place to control these risks and deciding what further action needs to be taken, recording all findings and sharing these with workers and their representatives. Hazard prevention and control. Farmers often have limited resources, but once identified, some risks require minimal direct cost. Once risks are identified and prioritized, a plan can be developed to use available resources to address the greatest need first. Ideally, the aim is to eliminate hazards, but often that is not practical. However, the farmer can make sure, example, that machinery has adequate guards and that personal protection equipment is readily available for essential risk reduction activities such as noise and dust exposure. Training of employees, supervisors and or managers. It is also important to make sure that workers are familiar with the risk they are working with or exposed to. Today, there are a number of agriculture training resources readily available, particularly on the internet and mostly at no cost to users. Coming to safety measures. The introduction of safety measures depends on the technical, economic and social development of the agriculture industry. Integrating safety into quality systems and the planning of new production process and buildings is a great challenge for all concerned farmers, safety organizations, professional associations, extension services and administrations. However, this is a challenge that must be acted in order to protect the most valuable asset that the agriculture industry has, namely its people. According to the International Labour Organization, the agricultural sector is one of the most hazardous to health worldwide. Agricultural work possesses several characteristics that are risky for health: exposure to the weather, close contact with animals and plants, extensive use of chemical and biological products, difficult working postures and lengthy hours, and use of hazardous agricultural tools and machines. This brief outlines the occupational health hazards of agriculture presents a case study on the trade-off between their health and economic impacts and proposes responses. Three main steps are required to encourage greater synergies between agriculture and health. First, individuals and institutions already active in the field of links between agriculture and health should compile and communicate evidence of success and failures and share their knowledge and experience. Second, institutions concerned with global health and agriculture should build capacity, policies and governance structure to facilitate linked approaches, starting by setting up forum to bring the stakeholders together. Thirdly, Agriculture and health researchers should together identify and prioritize researchers' gaps and needs and develop a joint research agenda. And fourth, all stakeholders should invest in capacity building to help translate a conceptual links into comprehensive action on the ground. Coming to significance, agriculture affects health. Agriculture systems vary enormously in the types of products produced, the methods used, their location and the system of ownership. Agricultural systems thus affect health in a variety of ways, often through interaction with agricultural producers and outputs. The influence of agricultural system is most noteworthy by means of the intermediary processes of environmental changes in water, soil and air. Examples include the environmental and human health effects of livestock production and aquaculture and the human health impact on agriculture related climate change. A notable case is the link between irrigated agriculture system and water associated vector-borne diseases such as malaria. Irrigation alters the environment by creating conditions suitable for parasitic vectors which then spread diseases among producers and the wider population. The example shows the importance of accessing the impact of the full range of linkages in a coordinated manner. Health affects agriculture. Health can affect agricultural system by affecting the health of producers. Poor health reduces producers' ability to innovate, experiment with different farming practices and capitalize on farm specific knowledge. Ill health is a major reason why young people leave rural areas, depriving farm activities of needed innovators. Healthier producers, in contrast, are more productive and able to partake in and drive the development of agricultural system. We can summarize, there are very few data regarding the epidemiology of occupational health disorders among agricultural and plantation workers. Clinically well recognized group of occupationally acquired health problems may be respiratory, dermatological, traumatic, poisoning and neoplastic in nature. Prevalence of some specific zoonotic diseases and behavioral health problems are also found to be more among them. There is lack of attention for prevention and control of these occupational health problems. An adequately developed comprehensive occupational health care program having all the components of preventive, curative and rehabilitative aspects can only promote and maintain the highest degree of physical, mental and social well-being in all types of agricultural and plantation workers of rural areas. Currently, the health and agricultural sector remain disjointed. Health considerations play little part in decisions farmers make about production or agricultural ministers make about policy. Likewise, the health sector often fails to reach out to the agricultural sector. The division undermines efforts to improve the livelihood of agricultural producers and gives short shift to agriculture's role in solving many of the world's most serious health problems. The goal is clear: healthier people and healthier agriculture. Thank you.